Hey, SK here. Real quick, I want you to know we'll be taking a break from Umineko after this episode. I'll leave a link below to a vlog where I go into greater detail about it, but short version, this series will be on hiatus for several months. We do have a plan for when we will be returning to do the answer arcs, but in the meantime, we hope you find some enjoyment in some of the other games we decide to play. Thanks for understanding, and please enjoy the final episode of the question arcs. One more tea party.
All right.
Watch them introduce like 6 new characters.
They'll do it.
They'll do it. Don't think they won't. What is this? Oh no. What?
What?
Okay. So that's... I don't know what that word means, but...
Fragment.
Well, I'm glad you knew. Scattered on a large bed were cute jelly beans of various colors and chocolates shaped like ojiki pieces. A fork was stuck into a shortcake peeking out of a gift box, and there were decanters of drinks of various colors lined up on a side table. But the color of the partially finished drink that had been poured into a cup was venomous, matching none of the decanters. Someone had probably been playing around, mixing various things together. That can be lots of fun if you don't mind the taste.
Like Maria that one time.
Hey! On top of the fluffy bed were several colorful big pillows, like something from a dream. And on this bed, that looked like something out of a child's dream world, Burncastle lay face down, and Lambda Delta lay face up, clutching a pillow and relaxing.
It was pretty thrilling this time, wasn't it? I got really panicky when Beato said she'd stop the game.
What a rude witch. To start a game like this and try to end it by throwing it away.
Wasn't Angie a good piece? After Beato ran for it, Angie dragged her back and made her resume the game. Although it's a shame that she gave Battler a little too much enthusiasm.
After all, I knew Battler was a softie.
No kidding. He looked like he might even go easy on Beato, his enemy.
It was uneasy that, like the last game, he might actually feel compassion for Beato and take the game in a weird direction. Angie was a trump card to get Battler back on track when he mistook his goal. Although I wanted her to support him a bit more before using her up. She really did get used right off the bat. What a waste for a piece that required so much preparation.
Good thing I shackled her with that rule about not giving her name. If that hadn't been set up, the brother-sister tag team would have swallowed Beato up and won in the blink of an eye.
I thought it'd be a chance for them to press her all at once, but your mark was so restrictive that I couldn't make the best use of her. What a waste that piece was.
Isn't it obvious that such an unfair piece would have to be retired right away?
You're right, it breaks the meta.
Well, in the end, she did a good job of preventing the suspension of the game, and that helps me out, too. The way she made both our interests match is what made her a truly wonderful piece.
They're talking like the game isn't over yet. She was an innocent kid like Battler, so it was easier to get her to do as I said. Morons and impulsive types make the best pieces. Sideburn Angie. I really can't stand losing that pace.
I feel like someone's talking about me from beyond the grave.
You're dead. Stop it.
By now, that kid's minced meat. Hey, let's make hamburgers out of her later on.
Nipa? I don't know how one pronounces the star emoji, but I imagine it's something similar.
Indeed. Oh, wait. Didn't you like gyoza more? I wonder what little sister tastes like. Hilarious.
Is it really okay for you to be so relaxed? Thanks to Angie, Battler has gotten all fired up. I'm pretty sure he's started a hot pursuit of Beato, making this game take a big turn in my favor, right? I mean, didn't Battler just solve almost all the mysteries up until now?
Huh? Not even close. Almost all of Battler's Blue Truth was wrong.
Are you kidding me with this?
Beato's lukewarm red is full of holes.
I was just thinking about how it seemed like almost a Pyrrhic victory where Battler was just able to prove that it wasn't a witch, but not actually explain how things happened, since his own theories seem so wildly...
To be fair, though, does it matter that his Blue Truth was wrong?
I mean, it doesn't matter for the state of their game, but it certainly matters for, like, telling a story.
Yeah.
Like, your audience isn't going to be satisfied with just, you know, like, oh, this is one thing this could have been, and then faffing about forever.
Indeed. If she had any brains in her, she'd slip through it easily by setting up a suitable web of twisted logic. Yeah, it really ticks me off. If it were me, I'd thoroughly cut down all of it with the red.
Oh, really? And I was sure that those were all correct. Well, I don't know about that small bomb part, though. Also, how would they then get the candy put into them afterwards? Not all Battler's Blue Truths were valid. Oh, this is probably going to be Lambda Delta.
Not all of Battler's Blue Truths were valid. When talking about the first game, Beato clearly declared that she guaranteed the identities of all unidentified corpses. This defeats Battler's theory about the culprit of the Eva Hideyoshi closed room murder being someone who faked up a corpse. Next, Cannon might have died in an accident in the boiler room, but what kind of accident could drive a stake into his chest? Are you a moron? I'll slice it with that red treasured sword thing. Cannon did not die in an accident. For the next one, the murders of the three including Genji in the parlor, they thought that it was a simultaneous murder where they shot each other in a clockwise pattern at the same time. The thought that it was that is laughable. Genji, Kumasawa, and Nanjo are not killers. The final trap X to kill Natsuhi was also ridiculous. The thing that shot Natsuhi wasn't a trap. It was a real shooting murder, with a gun raised and trigger pulled. That's interesting, so that one wasn't magic then, huh?
Yeah, I guess not.
Sucks for you.
Although this all seems to imply that there's still some fundamental understanding about what's going on that is just still eluding us.
Indeed.
You shouldn't do that. Saying something like that in red. That kid's trying to say that she bounced Natsuhi's bullet back with magic and killed her.
Oh my, how terrible of me, you're right. Even the Blue Truth for the second game was way too naive. When the six were murdered in the chapel, the culprit was inside the chapel. That guy keeps trying to explain things using Trap X. What the heck is Trap X? Some weird mystery novel cliche?
No, it's a nightclub I used to go to. That's for a different story.
It's also laughable to say that in the case where Nanjo and Kumasawa were killed in the servant room, someone else inherited Cannon's name. No one else can go by Cannon's name. A different person can't claim that as their name.
Really?
Note that she didn't say that about Kinzo.
Right, I was gonna say.
And that theory about borrowing the master key from Rosa for Natsuhi's room is also worthless. After the master keys came into Rosa's control, never did any of them leave her hands. Except for the time when she lent one to Battler to unlock Natsuhi's room. I can keep on going, but just taking a quick look at them turns out like this, get it? That's interesting. So if Rosa was the culprit in that one, that would that explain
Isn't that what Battler's operating theory was for most of it? Anyway.
For that one?
For game 2 or game 1?
For game 2?
For game 2, yeah.
That Rosa did it?
Yeah.
Was it?
He did wind up fingering her at one point, for at least part of it.
Okay.
Anyway, forget taking a quick look. You've just denied Battler's Blue Truth for the first and second games across the board. My, what a shame. If Battler heard, he'd faint.
Right. Beato wasn't cornered at all. Looks like that kid's a pretty good actress after all. I'm sure she planned to make it look like she was getting cornered this game. And then sometime next game, bang, she'll slice it up with a single red stroke to make Battler freak. And then I'm sure she'll say it again with a huge smile. Witches never get into a pinch.
Then that whole tragic atmosphere, as though Beato was getting cornered, was all an act?
Isn't it obvious? She really is a great actress. Even though she wasn't cornered at all, it felt like an astonishing last episode climax. She's totally the winner for Best Supporting Actress this year. Oh, but of course I'm the star! You do fine too, Burn.
At the end, she said something like, "Kill me," and laid out a big riddle. Wasn't that her last stand, with Beato to be finished for good if that riddle was solved?
Come on, were you seriously tricked too, Burn? That wasn't even close to a last stand. Beato's still holding back a killer hidden move. When she stuck out both hands to give the final riddle, did you notice how she lowered just her right hand?
Yeah, now that you mention it. Is that what that meant?
Sure is. That kid still had plenty of hidden moves left. And none of the mysteries have been solved. That tension, like she'd been exposed, and the next episode would be the last. She truly is a genius at acting. Yeah, I want to see Battler knock her down to the very bottom right away. That kid's been totally encouraged by her North Wind and the Sun strategy from last time, right? I'm sure Battler will sympathize with Beato again and fall for it completely. After all, a single tear from a woman can fool a man. Totally economical and profitable.
You can also sell those online. And turn a tidy profit that way. And other fluids.
I thought it was just bathwater.
Turns out there's a market for a lot of...
I see.
Well, never mind that. I wonder if Battler will get caught by the same move again. I've got to spur him on so he never feels sympathy again. Although Angie's mincemeat seems to have done that pretty well.
Power up from an Angie-flavored hamburger? Oh, of course. I won't lose either. Starting here, I'll thoroughly support Beato to rally her up enough to compete with Battler. Beato won't lose. I mean, I'm threatening her with a wonderful punishment game if she loses. Gee,
Don't
sure seems like
her with a good time.
Sure seems like neither of the players in this game want to be here.
Yeah, right? Your punishment games are seriously not cool, so you should go a little easy on her. That punishment game is not cool. Bernie says not. And that was says spelled S-E-Z.
I've decided what to do for your next punishment game, Burn.
I did not agree to this.
Wanna hear? Wanna hear?
No.
Come on, ask me. Guess what? Guess what? I'll lock you in a wonderful, wonderful castle. That castle will be surrounded by pure white castle walls, 12 kilometers to a side, with a height of 10 meters. Magic and tricks are prohibited. You really couldn't jump over that, right?
1,400,000,000,000 cubic meters?
I think you had a couple orders of magnitude off.
Oh, you're right. 1 trillion. No? 1,000 million. Oh, it is just a billion. You're right. 1,440,000,000. I don't know how to numbers, okay? I am majored in math. We don't use numbers.
Yeah, you use letters and shit.
Exactly. You can stop there. I already know what you're going to say.
Weird symbols. And that place will start getting buried with gems, one every day. I'll lock you in until the castle walls are packed with them and you've been buried to death with gems.
Would you just climb on top of them?
Isn't that a wonderful, romantic punishment game?
If you multiply the length of the walls by 5 and make it 1/10 its current height, I wouldn't mind if you shut me in it right now.
Really? That would make it 3,600,000,000 cubic meters, right? The time period for the punishment game would more than double, right? I get to keep you as my prisoner for such a long time? I really like you, Burn. I love you.
Lambda Delta playfully approached Burncastle, who yawned, looking bored as she touched the bottom of Lambda Delta's chin, as though cuddling a cat. You just hit the microphone, dear.
You're betting on...
I'm doing what now?
You're betting on Battler's victory.
Damn right I'm battling.
And I'm betting on an eternal tie for the two of them. Doesn't that mean no one's betting on Beato's victory?
I wouldn't. Her chances of winning are literally 0.
Oh, how truly pitiful. Being told by the Witch of Miracles that there's no chance of a miracle. Although I wouldn't bet on her either, right? I can say that with certainty.
It's also pretty sad when the Witch of Certainty says that you're certainly screwed. Unusually for them, they giggled together. I wonder how this game will resolve itself.
Yeah, that's the one thing we can't predict. That's why it's fun.
I won't permit escaping or suspensions any longer.
I think we swapped.
Oh, I think we did.
I won't permit escaping or suspensions any longer. I'll certainly make them continue their game, and I won't let them run away. Even though I can't even imagine what'll happen next. I know it certainly won't end that way.
At the very least, it won't end with Beato's victory.
I mean, think about it. Neither of us is betting on Beato's victory. In other words, if it looks like Beato's gonna win, she'll have us two great witches as enemies.
Exactly. Our powers are most in equilibrium, when balancing between a tie and battler's advantage. If it tips too much in Beato's favor, both of us will line up along the same vector to drag Beato back.
In other words, the instant Beato's in a superior position, she'll have to deal with both of us as enemies. A common front with Burn. Sounds fun!
Thanks. But I'm not going into a compito with Candy Bath with you.
Ah, and I was gonna cover you with melted marshmallows while taking a compito shower.
How pitiful. That child is a living toy. A doll you caught so you could play with me, Lambda.
I'm good at playing with dolls. I really can do it well, okay? I'm proud of being able to play with a single toy for hundreds of years without getting tired of it.
You're her ally at some times and oppose her at others, toying with her for all eternity. How pitiful. That kid is now our doll. Hey, what about me? I want to be a doll too.
Well, we can recommend you a piece of interactive fiction about that, huh?
We most certainly can. Are you?
That's right, that kid is our doll. No end has been prepared for that kid except the ones the two of us desire. In other words, I can say for sure that this can only end by repeating a tie for eternity because of me, or else with Beato losing and being destroyed because of you, Burn. As far as this game ending with Beato's victory goes.
I will proclaim it as the Witch of Miracles.
And I will proclaim it as the Witch of Certainty.
Beato certainly cannot win, and a miracle certainly will not occur. Oh, wow, that was a good Bernie face.
Yeah.
Damn.
Interesting.
Sucks to be Beato, I guess. So, with all of that, then, there's no... It feels like we're out of, like, clever loops and, clever hoops to jump through in, like, wordplay or, you know, corner cases or whatever. There has to be... I feel like there is just some fundamental layer of understanding we do not have.
Maybe.
There's got to be something that's been hinted at between the lines that would just that could explain everything in pretty broad strokes.
Yeah.
And until we figure out what that is, it almost doesn't feel like it's worth trying to solve the individual games.
I don't know.
Like, it's certainly a fun intellectual exercise, but as they said, it's like, even after all of that after all that logical contortion, Battler still isn't close to actually figuring it out.
That said, trying to solve the individual games gave us the knowledge that Kinzo's been dead the whole time, which is huge.
That's true.
It also gave us a number of little things that we didn't know, like the fact that someone did take a gun and shoot Natsuhi.
Yeah.
Before she could shoot.
And it's gonna be a matter of trying to put together both, I guess. It feels like the individual cases will fall if we start trying to find what these bigger scope missing pieces of information are. And
I think we have a clue for what the biggest thing probably is.
It's going to be,
big riddle.
What is Beato?
Yeah, who or what is Beato?
Who is Beato? I think as soon as we figure, or as soon as we get some, like, foothold into that, who is Beato? I have a feeling a lot of other things are going to start falling from there.
Yeah.
And this is a prepare to gift for you in commemoration of stake and find these new features on the title screen. Really?
Interesting.
There's more?
What's our gift? What's our gift?
That's the final tea party, right?
Oh,
We got tips to go. We're going to go over tips. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Achievement unlocked. The beginning. It's not the end. Oh no.
Of course it's not the end.
Yeah.
I mean, like we've got the answer arc still to go, but oh wow. That's a beautiful screen. Music box. Oh, that's so nice that you get to listen to the music afterward. Okay. Let's check out the tips for episode 4.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. The tips aren't accurate.
Hold on. Son of Rudolph and his first wife, Asamu. That's true. Hold on. Okay, that's the magical folk. That's the present day. Let's execute him.
Yeah.
Missing. Okay.
What? Wait. Missing. Went to hell embraced by the witch, but to the witch, that hell was the Golden Land. Interesting.
Right, so we're going to go through everyone one at a time here, so let's not get it. Okay. Kinzo, the H-head of the Ushiromi family. Even though it has already been announced that he has just a few months left to live, brimming with energy, amassed a fortune in the past, he never made any announcements regarding the inheritance, which worries his children. Okay. So nothing really new here, because we know he's dead.
Yeah, it would make sense why he would be brimming with energy, though about to die, if it wasn't him.
Yep. His body was found as a burnt corpse in the underground boiler room's incinerator. No evidence of a struggle was found inside the incinerator. It's probably reasonable to assume that he was burned after his murder. Dust to dust, ashes to ashes, the dead to the dead.
Haha, he was already dead.
Yep, he was already dead. And it was stated in red. For all these games, it's just the 17 people.
Yep.
Which means Beato either must be among them in some manner, or something that's not, well,
sounds pretty sus.
Sounds pretty sus. That means she is one. No, I'm not going to say that phrase again. I guess one of the most reasonable leaps of logic to make then is maybe Beatrice is Battler.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe it either, but it's like the first leap, right? Because he's alive at the end of pretty much every game.
Yeah.
So if there was someone doing these things, it could be Battler in a, in kind of in a state of denial. I don't know if I buy that, but it's not an unreasonable position to take. Let's look at Kraus. Kinzo's first child, eldest of the 4 siblings, leads the family conference. The other siblings think he's trying to get all the inheritance for himself, and this further strains tensions between them. Real estate investor and put a lot of money into the development of resort. Okay, let's execute him. Corpse was found in a guest room deep within the mansion. About half his head was destroyed. It's probably reasonable to assume he was murdered with a powerful gun or something similar. A demon stake was buried into the damaged area. No one can escape from the Chester's golden arrows. Right, so figuring out what the golden arrows are is going to be.
Yeah.
Because that's clearly a hint to what the murder weapon might be. Natsuhi, Cross's wife, manages the household of the Ushiromi head family in place of her husband. In charge of all preparations and arrangement for this family conference. Possesses a strong sense of responsibility and a great deal of pride. However, neither her husband nor his siblings understand her very well. Okay. Her corpse was found in the dining hall. About half of her head was destroyed. It's probably reasonable to assume she was murdered with a powerful gun or something similar. However, the witnesses don't believe she was killed with a gun.
Really stressing that point, huh?
Yep.
Interesting.
Jessica, Krasnodski's daughter, in the absence of any irregularities, thought that she will eventually inherit the headship of the Ushiromi family, or technically her husband will. However, she seems to have no interest in all of this. Born with weak bronchi and sometimes assailed by sudden asthma attacks. Corpse found in her room on the 2nd floor of the mansion. About half her head was destroyed. It's probably reasonable to assume she was murdered with a powerful gun or something similar. Okay, yeah, okay, that's for most of these. Got it. Smashed by her own attack due to George's counteroffensive specialized barrier. Sure. Well, I mean, if that was the case, then why did George's kick leave the same kind of wound as whatever killed everyone else, right? I think that...
But it didn't, was the thing. It definitely didn't, right?
Nope. Half her head was destroyed, just like everyone else. Remember, that's how her corpse was found. Regardless of how they said she died in the big shonen fight scene or whatever.
No, that's why we obviously know George didn't kick her.
Oh, right. Sorry. I wasn't trying to imply that it was literally that. I'm just...
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Nanjo? Attending physician, longtime friend. Once ran a hospital on Najima, turned it over to her son, Nanjo's old peace. Kinzo's constant suspicion has reached extraordinary heights. Nanjo is one of the very few people he trusts. Been able to continue his friendship with Kinzo despite the latter's tendency. So, here's the thing. If Nanjo is Kinzo's friend...
And Kinzo's dead.
At a minimum, Nanjo is in on the ruse.
Yeah.
Or knows who the new Kinzo is.
Or Nanjo is completely deceived.
I guess I find it would be harder to convince me that he would be deceived of the appearance of his admitted longtime friend.
Or Nanjo is Kinzo.
I guess it could work. Anyway. Corpse found behind the mansion. About half his head was destroyed, probably with reasonable... Okay. Demon stake had fallen near the body. They didn't even bother staking those bodies. It was just like, they kind of gave up.
Kinzo couldn't have died that far beforehand, though, right?
Why not? Oh, shit.
His corpse was fresh enough that when they tossed it in a burner, people assumed it was someone who had died and been burnt recently. So he couldn't have died years ago and been just bones.
Oh, no, not years ago, for sure.
So this is recent. Kinzo died recently.
Recent enough that he still had a corpse.
Yeah.
That could be burned. But as they've hinted, burning the corpse kind of obfuscated the true time of death. Death. Because outside of being able to, see when certain wounds were made. Ava, hostile towards her brother Kraus, poses him whenever she can. If she's dealing with the family fortune to the question of who will succeed the family headship. Normally she would have lost her place in the Ushiromiya family register upon her marriage, but she managed to forcibly overcome this by having her husband take her family name. Convenient. Corpse was found at the dining hall. Half her head was destroyed, probably with a... Yep. Witnesses don't believe she was killed with a gun. Yep. Hideyoshi took his wife's name upon their marriage and became a member of the Ushiromiya family. Therefore does not possess the spiteful genes passed through Ushiromiya family members, and his bright smile is very refreshing at the family conference.
I can believe that.
Yeah. Have you seen him happy with a gun? He started his business from scratch and now works as the president of a medium-sized restaurant chain. Chain seems to be growing and performing extremely well. Huh. I thought...
Yeah, that's not what we were led to believe.
Yeah, from what we were led to believe, the Avis part of the family was definitely hard up.
Yeah.
Yep, corpse found in the dining hall, blah, 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 with the gun. Witnesses don't believe he was killed with the gun.
George's facial expression.
Hey, it's me, George!
Wow.
Hey! Affable young man liked by everyone in the family. Currently studying an assistant for his father's company, it seems he dreams of making it on his own one day. Oldest of the four cousins, acts as their leader and arbitrator. Okay? Found in the Rose Garden Arbor, single hole right in the center of his forehead. It's probably reasonable to assume he was shot with a gun or something similar. It's a brand of humiliation marking his defeat at the gap. Interesting that George is the only one who wasn't killed.
What?
With the same weapon as everyone else.
Yeah. Huh.
George, yeah.
So far. Others weren't.
Yeah, you're right. I'm just gonna keep that in the back of my head, though. Because, just logically speaking, if a bunch of other people died with a specific wound, the one who also didn't die to that particular wound would seem to be a likely candidate for the one who caused the wounds on other people.
Maybe.
Because presumably this is a weapon or some kind wielded by someone.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an idle thought. I'm not ready to stake my claim on that. Rudolph, Kinzo's third child, along with his sister Ava, intends to make his voice heard during the family conference to prevent their oldest sibling, Kraus, from keeping all the father's wealth for themselves. His former wife, Asamu, passed away 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Six years
6
ago.
years ago.
Right, because Battler leaving was when that tracked with when his mother
Son of a bitch.
died. I think that's got to be the... Because we were hung up on 6 years ago what Battler said to Shannon then. That's the only thing we could think about when we kept trying to put together, like, what was that sin from 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But his former wife, Asamu, passed away 6 years. That's...
Asamu died 6 years ago. Battler left the family register and did his own thing 6 years ago. So there's a number of things that happened around that same time.
Yeah.
But it's not leaving the family that was the sin.
Right.
He confessed to that one.
Yep.
And it didn't seem to be anything about...
And Beato
Asamu.
seemed to take it personally, even though it wasn't between Battler and Beato.
I think that's the key. That's the key. Beato takes it personally, but it's not a sin against Beato. It's a sin against whoever Beato is. And Beato is one of the 17.
And Beato is Battler. That was me all along! Who knew?
Did we already execute
We haven't
Rudy?
executed him yet. Corpse found in the dining hall. Half his head was destroyed. Yada, 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 yada. Okay. Kyrie, Rudolph's second wife, already started working alongside him for some time before the death of his first wife, at which time she openly took the position of his wife. Served as Rudolph's right hand in several shady pieces of business, guiding them to success. Quick thinking and well trusted by her husband.
I like that it specifies shady.
Ooh, right. Because she... Yeah. Corpse found in the guest room deep within the mansion. Single hole right in the center of her forehead. It's probably reasonable to assume she was shot with a gun or something similar. Demon stake was buried in the hole in her forehead, but it's hard to imagine that this was the cause of death. It didn't miss. I missed on purpose to tease her, yeah.
Wow.
Sorry. I took your line, I just realized. Yep, and that's just not true. Alright, we already did Battler.
Yeah.
Missing. Genji. Leader of the servants who work for the Oshirami family, served Kinzo longer than any other, yet yip. Since he serves Kinzo directly, Kraus and Natsuhi think of him as being a spy for Kinzo. So,
Or being Kinzo.
it seems that Genji and Nanjo, at a minimum, would have to be on the short list
Yeah.
for people who are in on the conspiracy of Kinzo having already died.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's unlikely, but conceivable, that either Kraus or Natsuhi weren't in on it. I think at least one of them had to be. But I think it's conceivable that the other one might have been kept in the dark. I don't see a scenario where both of them are out of it, because they're the ones that own the house.
Mm-hmm.
It would take at least one of them exercising some kind of, authority to make stuff like that happen. And it definitely seems unlikely Goto would be a part of it.
Yeah.
Kumasawa, maybe? And Shannon and Cannon, maybe. But I think at a minimum, Genji and Nanjo had to have known. Because remember, Nanjo's the one that's continually feeding them reports that, oh yeah, he's still kicking, but only got 3 months to live.
And that's just not so.
That's just not so. And so he has to have known. Let's see. Corpse found at the dining hall. About half his head was destroyed. Probably reasonable. Yeah, okay, that's the same.
How about Rosa?
Kinzo's fourth child. She is by far the youngest of the 4 siblings. Seems that this gives her a weaker position at the family conference. She manages a design company and beats her daughter. But she has yet to start taking it seriously, and its financial situation is far from fair. She has yet to start taking it seriously.
Yeah, because she's always been taking time off to go on vacations with guys.
Yeah, okay. Corpse found at the dining hall. Half the head is destroyed. Powerful gun. Witnesses.
Same old.
Yeah, okay, that's the same. Maria! Her father's identity is unknown. She can't shake off the habit of speaking like a young child, which often earns her a scolding. She's no interest in studying or making friends, but is very interested in things connecting to the occult and black magic. Thanks to her excellent powers of memorization, she knows all kinds of obscure trivia. Corpse was found in the dining hall. Battler wasn't able to make out any wounds in particular, so he assumed she was killed by some kind of poison. the most peaceful form of invitation to the Golden Land. Shannon, young but inexperienced servant. Normally calm and performs her job efficiently, but she messes up when she gets nervous. Furthermore, Shannon is nothing more than a pseudonym that she uses when on duty, not her real name. Corpse was found behind the mansion. About half of her head was destroyed. It's probably reasonable to assume that she was murdered with a powerful gun or something similar. Demon's stake had fallen near the body. Witnesses at least realized that the stake wasn't what killed her. Why was it only those two bodies out in the woods that had the stakes just kind of dropped unceremoniously nearby them?
Yeah, I don't know.
Cannon, a young servant. He performs his duties silently and diligently, but is not so highly regarded as a servant due to his unsociable nature. Multiple other servants with the awe and character in their pseudonym. He and Shannon just happened to be the ones on duty that day.
Oh.
Battler was not able to find his corpse. No matter how he's killed with magic, without a corpse, he's a definite suspect. Now that's definitely anti-fantasy. Therefore, I guarantee his death with the red truth. Now that's definitely anti-mystery.
That's interesting.
Okay, so we know he's dead. Doesn't say anything about when, but he definitely is.
Though we were told when as well. We were told that he died before the others in that group.
Right. But not where.
And we also don't necessarily know when the others died, because it might not have been right then. It could be that he died first and then the others, but somewhere else at a different time.
Yes. That's the thing, is that we can't verify that his corpse is where we believe it is. Goda, servant hired as a cook. Hasn't served his family long, though. His career, jobs, and previous experience, he has cultivated talent for entertaining guests. Because of this, he is highly regarded as a servant. Corpse found in the Rose Garden storehouse. Assumed he was hung by the neck after being shot in the forehead. They put ropes around their own necks. That can be a pretty interesting experience now and then.
What?
Oh! What if you threatened them from the outside? You had a weapon, you're like, okay, set this up. I want you both to stand there, put this noose around your necks, kind of loosely. I'll do it, otherwise I'm gonna, harm someone. And then winds up shooting them from the position of the window.
Maybe.
Work. And Kumasawa. Elderly woman is a part-timer who, though she quit her job several times along the way, has served the family for a great many years in total. She is crafty and more than competent when it comes to performing her duties, but because of her chattiness and love of rumors, not highly regarded as a servant. Wait. The letters that had the bank information were sent out from the island that they traveled to Rokenjima from.
Yeah.
The day before. They were sent out by Nanjo.
Oh.
Nanjo, who is in on the conspiracy of Kinzo having already died. That makes perfect sense. Why would he do that?
That's really interesting.
That absolutely makes perfect sense.
Though, do we know that the others on the islands didn't also?
We don't.
We don't know.
We don't. But,
so we can at least place one of our suspects there, but we can't not place everybody else.
Yep. We don't know if Nanjo was on the island that day, but either that day or the day, but it seems reasonable that he might come and go.
Mm-hmm.
And has arrangements. Like, I don't know his business, but he maintains either him or he could have had someone at his clinic send them out for him on that day. Either way, it's almost assuredly him. Sorry, that just came to me out of bolt from the blue.
I don't know about almost assuredly, but there's a good case for it, but I don't know about almost assuredly.
Okay. Kumasawa's corpse found in the Rose Garden storehouse. Assumed she was hung by the neck after being shot in the forehead. As long as I could construct a closed-room murder, nothing else mattered.
Nothing else matters as long as I construct a closed-room murder.
Huh. Wow, someone really likes Metallica. Alright. See what we've got in the magic side here.
A lot of folks.
Yeah, let's start with Beato.
And not at the top row.
Okay, we can start at the top row. Lambda Delta. You want to read these ones?
Sure. The Witch of Certainty, who's lived for 1,000 years. She thinks that Beatrice's game is a birdcage enclosing Burncastle. Her goal is an eternal tie. She'll ally with Beatrice as a general rule, but she'll support Battler when it looks like he's about to resign. Then when it looks like Beatrice is about to be cornered, she'll start supporting the Witch again. The willpower of certainty is far stronger than the endless, which just repeats over and over idly.
Could you imagine, though?
Berncastle, the Witch of Miracles, who has lived for 1,000 years. To defeat Beatrice in her game, she threw in a piece called Angie. The Voyager witches who cross the Sea of Fragments are beings far superior to the witches who cannot leave their own territories. While they may be on an even footing inside the territory, her true magical power far surpasses that of Beatrice. What is sought by these witches who repeatedly voyage in an attempt to escape boredom?
Okay, I don't know if this is intentional, but when Voyager, which is with the capital V in Voyager, makes me think of, like...
Star Trek?
No, it doesn't. It makes me think of the Voyager satellites.
Okay, yeah. That's
Anyway, When They Cry is just 17,776. 19,886. I'm workshopping this one. Come back to me.
Beatrice, the endless witch who has lived for 1,000 years. She is known for being exceptionally cruel, even among witches. She loves bullying the weak and is capable of using trial and error endlessly to find the cruelest fate they can possibly be given. And she toys with her victims even further by piling on one after another. This witch is extremely powerful, but word has it that she sometimes becomes obsessed with creating certain patterns, so that her means end up becoming her goals.
Alright, no execution. Alright.
That's interesting, given that we did establish that... Or did we establish that she died at the end? I don't know if we did.
I don't think we didn't see her die. No. Because...
Though, we did hear that all of the 17 died, which is weird.
Beto's battler. Maria.
A little magician who has inherited the black blood from Kinso. Unlike Kinso, she was gifted with talent and began to tread the path of the magician from a young age. However, her power is still weak, and she hasn't yet graduated from an apprentice's level. However, she is skilled with enchantments, which bestow magical power upon objects, and the magical items she creates are all master class.
Word.
Does it execute do anything?
Let's see if we can execute her.
Whoa.
Oh.
Maria, the Witch of Origins, who will live for 1,000 years in the future. She holds the motherly magical power to give birth to one from the Sea of Zero. At a glance, this magical power is frail, but no matter how many times you multiply 0, you never end up with anything more than 0. However, the one she gave birth to will one day surpass even the heavens. She is loyally protected by Beatrice, who understands her true worth. The two of them are members of the same alliance.
Okay.
Angie, the Endless Witch, who will live for 1,000 years in the future. Or perhaps she's a hunter of witches who will fell them all. Witches cannot be felled if they are not understood. Witches cannot be felled even if they are understood. To understand witches and yet deny them, only this contradictory power gives her the blade with which to fell witches.
Interesting.
Goldsmith. Goldsmith is Kinzo's sorcerer's name. His skill as a summoner is legendary for the current era. His summoning ability surpasses even Beatrice's at times. However, he is very mismatched, excelling in some areas while fatally lacking as a sorcerer in others. Magic with enough power to reheat a cup of black tea may be beyond him, but he is capable of summoning demons with magic strong enough to boil the sea. The source of his magic is found in arithmetic miracles, and his magical compendium is unique. Later on, even Beatrice took note of this and rearranged her own compendium accordingly.
Yep.
What about execute for him?
Oh, let's try it. Nope.
Nothing, okay. Sakutaro,
Oh!
the beloved furniture of Lady Maria, a witch of mariage sorcière. He is Lady Maria's white heart itself. You might even say he's a second Lady Maria and irreplaceable to her. He holds a decoration as a diplomat, and none may attack him, not any of the witches, weapons, and furniture in the Alliance, nor any of the demons and divine spirits in a contract with the Alliance.
No!
His broken vessel can only be regenerated by the Meister who created him. Capital R-O-S-A, Rosa. However, Rosa disposed of the vessel's fragments and even lost the pattern paper. On top of that, his existence was denied by the Meister herself, so his resurrection is now impossible. The Meister died in 1986, and any chance for his resurrection disappeared for all time. Even the Endless Witch Beatrice could not manage it.
So, one other thing has occurred to me as we're going through this that might give battlers some wiggle room.
Yeah?
There's one well-worn mystery trope of having a character with multiple personalities. Each has their own distinct person. And that could get around the 17 people on the island thing, but also this particular person is not responsible for it.
Indeed.
And it's not completely out of the blue, as clearly characters in this game have very different aspects of themselves. Like, let's just say Maria, for instance. Like the witch Maria. But I don't know if that's going to tie into the ultimate reveal or not. I saw the clothing that Virgilia's outfit is based on. It's very good.
Virgilia, a now retired Endless Witch and Beatrice's teacher. She used the Endless magic properly and devoted her life to the smiles and happiness of many people. She taught Beatrice the Endless magic, believing that Beatrice would also devote herself to the people, and retired. Though she was Beatrice's teacher, she was also a magician employed by Beatrice's family. For that reason, she interacted with Beatrice in a manner fitting for a servant. Some point to this as the source of Beatrice's arrogance and recklessness.
Can't execute her. Okay.
Ronabe, one of the 72 great demons, works for a master in exchange for various forms of compensation. He currently has a contract with Beatrice as her butler, head furniture. He's become proficient at housekeeping after serving in many households, so his ability as a butler is very high. In the high society of witches, employing him has become a kind of status symbol. Furthermore, the cookies he bakes are superb, especially when served in a box, and witches will often form a line demanding them. He must possess tremendous magical power, but since he always stays out of the spotlight to further boost his master's reputation, his combat capabilities are unknown.
Alright, what about the Gap?
The Gap, one of the 72 great demons, also Beatrice's friends, also has the same programming socks that Beato did in Chapter 2.
Also, it's the same side skirt as Shannon.
That's really weird.
Except more severe.
That's really weird.
Yeah, she does have Beato's programming socks.
She uses this extraordinary power for playing pranks, mostly. Her specialty is hiding keys and bags during busy mornings. However, in the context of closed-room mysteries, this power becomes an ultimate weapon that can easily strike a finishing blow. Her queen bee strikes are likely to pierce any and all detectives, forcing them to surrender. Does she have an execution?
Find out. No, because she didn't die. Chester, 00.
A weapon of the Sisters Cavalry, which serves Pendragon. 00 is their calm and composed leader. However, this is merely the role demanded of her, since she's far more frail by nature. 00 excels at reconnaissance and serving as an advance guard, displaying extreme supremacy in unexpected encounters. However, her excessively powerful fighting strength has been called inhumane, and it isn't rare for her to be lynched and abused when she surrenders on the battlefield. Her one eye silently speaks to that. Does she have an execution?
No. Oh, wait. Executing changes the...
Oh, that's interesting. What the fuck? What the fuck? What did we just find? What did we just find?
Chester 556.
A quiet girl who's always teased by everybody, but that's because everyone loves her. The trumpet is her specialty. Everyone skips to her lively tune.
What did we just... That unlocked 2 achievements.
Yeah, that's
I
really
want to point
interesting. So let's execute again. A weapon of the Sisters' Cavalry, which serves Pendragon. 556 was quiet and often teased, but she was loved by everyone. However, her luck was always bad, and she met a tragic end in battle against the Black Witch. She was a cutting-edge weapon, unique in the Sisters' Cavalry, which tended to serve as honor guards. 556 was in charge of squad fire support. She shot not to kill, but to protect her allies. That's really interesting. So we've got confirmation, I think, on the
Chester's being the porcelain bunny.
Rabbits, yeah. Chester 410, a weapon in a contract with Beatrice. 410 is a kid with a strong personality whose peculiar style of speech tends to make light of people. She likes laughing at people who are serious or can never relax, which is why she's so fond of 45 and Lucifer. Her choice of words may be coarse, but she loves company and gets lonely easily. She gets depressed if there isn't someone talking with her constantly. 410 is particularly skilled when it comes to firing control, and she can wield unparalleled combative force, even in close-range fighting.
What is her tattoo on the inner thigh there?
Oh my god.
Is that the base of the one-winged eagle?
That totally is. She has the right thigh one-winged eagle tattoo like Chapter 2 Beato did.
Like Chapter 2 Beato did.
I bet Execution will give us the same Chester, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So let's see the other one then, huh? They all do. They all have it. They all have it. That's interesting. Chester 45, a weapon in contract with Beatrice. 45 has a methodical and timid personality, as well as a fairly strong persecution complex. Thanks to that, she's well suited to shoring up the weaknesses of 410's rough personality when they work as a pair. She can't stand silence, so she'll often become emotionally insecure if she isn't being ordered around by someone constantly. 45 excels in search and decision-making capabilities. The support she provides doubles the combative force of the sisters.
Interesting. Hitting execute on her brought us to 00, and then hitting execute on 00 brings us to 556.
Interesting.
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 Who's always teased by everybody.
That's because everyone loves her.
I need to... Huh. Is that just like... Can we glean anything from her visage? I don't think so. But that's still important to... Huh. Alright. Seven Sisters of Purgatory.
High-quality furniture created by Beatrice. Satan takes on the role of the constantly angry class president among the sisters. She's always quick to scold people, which is why the other sisters are so scared of her. For that reason, no one's ever willing to talk back to her, and she's actually quite lonely all the time. She'll sometimes intentionally do things that ought to get her in trouble, but none of the sisters ever scold this lonely furniture back. Do they have executions?
Executing changes who they are.
Cool. Leviathan often represents the younger sisters when speaking to Lucifer. Deep down, she has a brutal, deeply envious nature and is adept at spotting people's weaknesses. However, she's more of a selfish crybaby than a person burning with envy. For some reason, she's not very good at handling tough situations, and she often ends up coming in last among the sisters, getting the short end of the stick and crying. Mammon is quick to grab whatever she wants without any concern for her sisters. Her motto is monopolize through greed, which means she's usually the main cause of arguments between the sisters. However, she is also the most honest about her own feelings, and the one most likely to try and please the opposite sex. She may be greedy, but she's a hard worker who will stop at nothing to capture her target's affections for all eternity.
Okay. I don't know if I'm just seeing patterns where there aren't none, but remember how we were trying to, come up with some, mapping from, the demons and magical characters onto possibly the main cast?
Yeah?
And I was like, groups of 7. Who might that be? Maybe the Ushiromiya adults.
Yeah?
Maybe it's just me seeing, vague patterns in personality traits, but it certainly seems like they could be.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, let's keep looking at the others.
Yep.
Beelzebub is the gourmet of the sisters, and is known for being a big and picky eater. Her personality is similar to Mammon's, and the two sisters often fight over the same thing. She's always talking about food, which makes her a calming influence among the sisters. However, she also has that disturbing desire to kidnap pretty boys and store them in the food cellar.
What? Leviathan again.
Lucifer is the oldest of the sisters and therefore their leader. Because of this, she claims to be the strongest of them all. She's secretly aware that she's actually the least talented, just like Kraus. However, she has always acted with arrogance in an attempt to hide this fact from the others. Her greatest fear is that her sisters will scorn her if they ever find out. Why are there these parallels? Why are they here? Why are they here? Why?
Half of me is thinking because we'll find patterns in anything.
Yeah.
And, given a group of 7 distinct personalities, given that you're creating two groups of 7 distinct personalities, there's obviously going to be a lot of overlap because that's just how humans create shit.
Mm-hmm.
But what if it's not?
Yeah. Belphegor is well-trusted and known for being a reticent, serious, and responsible piece of furniture. However, this is partly due to her demonic desire to turn her masters into useless, lazy pigs. In that sense, she might be the most demonic of all the sisters. She's serious to a fault, and not at all used to being treated kindly, instead of the other way around. As the youngest of the sisters, Asmodeus is always doted upon. This might be why she alone is kept out of the way whenever an even slightly lewd topic comes up. She's always looking for a boyfriend in the hopes that her sisters will finally accept her as an adult. However, she keeps aiming too high and whiles away each day, dreaming of the prince who will never come.
Okay, but you see this, right? You could back me up on this, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Like this is absolutely Rosa.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. I have no idea what we're meant to make of that parallel, or if it even is actually a thing. But for oh shit, Satan.
We've seen Satan.
We have seen Satan?
Yeah.
Belphegor.
We've seen Belphegor.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
Belpha D's nuts.
Got him.
We haven't forgotten. Have we gotten all of them? I think we got them all. Sure wish there was an easier way to go through all of them than this, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're good here.
Well, I have to wonder, we have two that seem to pretty clearly parallel. Kraus and Rosa.
And
what's the other 5?
I don't know if we know everyone's ages.
Mm-hmm.
But we know their seats at the table.
Wait,
no, the seats at the table don't line up because Kraus would be at the front, but Rosa would be ahead of any of the others. But
what?
She's still because Rosa would be ahead of the married into the family.
Okay.
So that's
but we do know the ages of the main 4, right? Because we know Ava's the second oldest.
Yep.
Rudolph's the third. And
we would have to kind of
like the 4th.
We would have to kind of extrapolate, or maybe they mentioned it once in passing to then find it. Because they have mentioned the exact order of ages for these stakes at some point.
Yeah.
Since it's very clear that Rosa had some hand in creating these characters, I would be perfectly convinced that she was...
That she had a hand in creating the characters?
She was writing about them in her grimoire.
Oh, well, Maria?
Yeah, Maria.
Okay, you said Rosa.
I said
Rosa.
I was like, I'm sorry, I said Rosa.
I was like, whoa, did she? That would be wild. Like, what are you seeing here? That would explain some things.
I'm not that cool. I'm sorry. But it's clear Maria had a hand in it.
Yeah. Can we execute again? I want to see another one and see if I can make one line up. Okay, so this one. Serious as a fault, not used to being treated kindly instead of the other way around. Could that be someone like...
But then that's also like the fortune cookie thing where it's just vague enough that it could apply to anything you wanted to.
Yeah, but I was wondering, not all of them are serious to a fault, right?
True.
Some of them might be, like, Kyrie's pretty serious. She doesn't joke around
too much. The gray hair.
Let's do another. Sometimes intentionally do things that ought to get her in trouble, but none of the sisters ever scold this lonely furniture back.
That'd be like Nazi?
Quick to scold. Other sisters are scared of her, so no one will talk back to her. Is that Ava and her sharp tongue?
I thought it was Natsuhi.
Really? People talk back to Natsuhi
that's true.
frequently.
Maybe. And see, and again, this might just be fortune cookie syndrome.
Yeah. Can we do another?
Yeah.
Mammon. Mammon is the most likely to try and please the opposite sex. She may be greedy, but she's a hard worker who will stop at nothing.
This is who I thought was Ava.
Greedy. Most likely to try and please the... Most likely to try and please the opposite sex doesn't fit.
No, but I also don't think that's what they're talking about. I think that I think it's more about Mammon wanting to... Or if we buy the Ava reading, that it's about Mammon wanting to get the headship, working hard towards that goal.
Maybe.
And would have the extra layer of, that means it's Angie subconsciously trying to reconcile with her estranged Ava in her timeline.
Interesting.
I don't know if I buy it.
My reading was Rudolph, but only because of the second to last paragraph.
Yeah.
And the quick to grab whatever. Because I figured, third child has learned he's got to grab whatever he can. And then most likely to try and please the opposite sex. Which one of them's been sleeping around and has kids with multiple women?
Yeah, it would be Rudolph.
But that last bit doesn't really fit. Stop at nothing and so on. He doesn't seem like that kind of guy.
Well, we don't know really what he's motivated by right now.
That's true.
Even after... Again, we're probably just spent 10 minutes talking about something that isn't a thing.
could also be composite characters as well. It could be something like Maria saw all the fighting, decided to congeal the different negative stuff into characters and then try to make them get along.
Or we need to realize that it's them as Maria sees them.
Yeah.
And that Maria's eyes will pick out certain things. Anyway,
all the goats. Low-level furniture in service to Beatrice. They are great in number, but silent and lacking personality. They obediently follow their master's orders. Their senses are closer to those of animals than humans, and they're surprisingly dull-witted, which sometimes leads them to misunderstand their orders. They have by nature a massive build like a minotaur's and fearsome superhuman strength. They may be low-level furniture, but the ability to summon an inexhaustible supply of them makes them extremely convenient. Do they have execution?
Oh, that's the execute all and resurrect all.
Okay,
no, they don't. And finally, the present day. Present time.
All right, let's take a look. Let's start from the top.
Yep.
Ushiromiya Eva. After being repeatedly hospitalized because of psychogenic stress, she has already died in the world of 1998 due to acute heart failure.
Okay, also notice.
Yeah?
This is game 4.
Yeah?
So, even though Ava doesn't live through game 4, she's still alive in the world of 1998 that takes place in game 4.
I think it would be wise to not put too much stock into that, because we've very clearly established points both against and in favor.
That's true.
Of that.
Yeah.
So it's something that it could well be that is how the timeline ultimately turns out. It could also well be that this was just meant to be here's how this would have turned out for Angie.
Right.
And why that should motivate Battler.
Multiple fragments.
Yeah.
Yep.
In any case, after being repeatedly hospitalized because of psychogenic stress, she has already died in the world of 1998 due to acute heart failure. She lived her later years in isolation with no one to understand her, and is the only survivor from Rokujima. The media gave her the name Queen of Suspicion. She continued to make reckless expansions of her business just like Kinzo had done in the past, which earned her many enemies. By her later years, she was doing it merely to harass people, as if she enjoyed it, rather than for financial gain. And it was all done for the sake of Angie, who would eventually succeed her. Does Execute or Resurrect do anything?
Nope, we can't resurrect her.
And Execute doesn't either?
Nope.
Damn. Okanogi Tetsuro, a leading member of the Ushiromiya group. Between the time of Ava's death and Angie succeeding her position, management of the group has fallen to core members like him in her stead. However, Angie has no desire to inherit that role, leaving the group on the brink of fracturing internally and putting Okanogi in a difficult position. He was once the president of a foodstuffs distribution company and had an intimate relationship with Hideyoshi's business. Because of that long-standing association, Ava trusted him particularly, and he was appointed to an important post within the group.
You can execute him. You can't execute him. Okay.
Sumidera Kasumi, daughter of the declining noble family Sumidera, Ushiromiya Kirie's younger sister. She despises her sister, and by extension, Angie as well. She's the opposite of the freewheeling person Kirie once was, and holds appearance in high regard, possessing a strong ambition for philanthropy. However, this is all just a craving for the limelight caused by the complex she has towards her sister. There are several opposing factions in the Sumidera family, and they're constantly engaged in a secret feud over who will control the vast wealth Angie holds. Ushiromiya Angie. Even after throwing herself off the top of a skyscraper, she miraculously survived unharmed. After that mystical experience, she threw away everything and went on a journey by herself to learn her past. Can she break through Beatrice's magic from her position 12 years in the future?
Can't execute. Okay.
Amakusa Juza, a former guard of Ava's. He's fundamentally a thrill seeker, willing to take on dangerous jobs for very little pay. At one point, he did work as a guard for Angie, but after repeatedly violating Ava's strict orders not to speak to her, Ava grew to dislike him and fired him. Angie seemed not to mind having him around, as he would often chat with her. This man, who has traveled between the Japan Self-Defense Force, the Foreign Legion, and non-government military companies, has skill in counter-sniping and protecting VIPs. Does he have an execute?
No, that would have been very telling.
Yeah. Sakutaro, Maria One-chan's precious friend, very simple, warm, and kind, tends to say, "Ooh." Didn't Maria One-chan also have a habit of saying this long ago? Maria. the Witch of Origins who will live for 1,000 years in the future. She holds the motherly magical power to give birth to one from the Sea of Zero.
This is the same as her.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And the stakes will probably be the same. Yeah. Okay.
Professor Otsuki, a professor at a certain college, well known as an authority on the subject of Western folklore. He's also famous for his hobby, researching the Rokkenjima witch legend as one of the witch hunters. The primary focus of the witch hunt is the pasting together of occult stories to try and make them match with the Rokkenjima incident, making it much more of a mental game for dilettantes and enthusiasts of the mystical than a scientific investigation into the truth of the crime.
Interesting.
Does he have an execution?
No.
I feel like it's worth checking for everybody.
We can check for everyone right now. No one else has an execute.
Okay. Is that how that works?
Yeah, that's how it worked on the other one. When I double-clicked execute, it executed everyone who could be executed.
Okay. Nanjo Masayuki, Nanjo's son, who inherited the Nanjo clinic. Unlike Nanjo, he seems to be a more sober, indifferent person. After the rampage surrounding Rokkenjima, he grew to completely despise the press, and he never spoke again of what happened around that time. He once had a daughter, afflicted with an incurable disease, but unfortunately, she wasn't able to live out her natural lifespan.
Yeah.
That's new info. That's weird.
That's new info.
Why is that important enough to put here?
I don't... Huh. Would she have been alive?
Who knows? We don't have enough info.
Yeah.
Kumasawa Sabakichi, Kumasawa's son, works at the Nijima fishing harbor. He must have gotten his carefree, big-hearted personality from Kumasawa. Many of Kumasawa's sons are fishermen, so they're often away from land for their work. This one happens to work at the harbor, so it was only coincidence that I managed to get in touch with him. Kumasawa loved to talk, so I did hope he might have heard or let something slip, but... Captain Kawabata, an old man who used to be a captain of a high-speed boat that went to and from Rokkenjima. At least among those still alive, he's certainly the person most familiar with matters concerning Rokkenjima. The media hoped he might have learned details of the situation inside the Ushiromiya family from various discussions with servants going to and from the island. However, he never said anything. They eventually began to forget this old man.
All right. Let's see what's in our tips.
And was there no next screen after that?
So if we go back to next, it'll just take us back to,
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, there's more stuff.
There's a lot here.
Okay. Let's take a look.
Do you want me to take over reading?
Sure.
Okay. Maria's Sorcière, an alliance of witches formed by Lady Maria, the Witch of Origins, and Lady Beatrice, the Endless Witch. Together they created a groundbreaking magical compendium, which brought about an immense influx of strength to Beatrice's once declining magical power. It's probably safe to say that the formation of this alliance allowed Beatrice to gain the endless power in its truest sense. According to its first clause, member witches must acknowledge each other and respect each other's magic. Young Angie did receive an invitation to join this alliance at one point, but she was later excommunicated. Magical compendiums. This term refers to a foundation that gives birth to magic. In particular, it indicates a system through which magical power can be gained automatically by sharing. For witches, committing one's magical compendium to paper and leaving it behind for future generations is often considered to be an important life's work. However, the more fearsome the power of a magical compendium, the harder it is to comprehend and share with others. An easily learned magical power may be easy to share, but such magical compendiums are doomed to end up as little more than good luck charms that are eventually forgotten. The essence of sorcery is maintaining a balance between these two outcomes when leaving a magical compendium behind for later generations. Simply put, grimoires, at any time a magical compendium is written down to be passed on to later generations, the result is a grimoire. It is said that today the most famous grimoire in the world has a history of over 2,000 years and is still in circulation, acquiring new alliance members even now. It is forbidden to speak the true name of that grimoire, so it is simply called book. I detest people that call me a book. I can't do a good grimoire voice, but imagine if I could. Beatrice's titles. As a witch, Beatrice holds two titles, Golden and Endless. These originally came from separate magical compendiums, so it can be said she wields the power of two compendiums. The title of Endless Witch has its foundation in endless creation, and is the root of her unmatched endless magical power. The title of Golden Witch has its foundation in the realization of magic, a magical power that can materialize imaginary precious metals, providing the miracle of manifestation to all less tangible forms of magic. These two titles were refined even further within Mariage Sorcière, leading to their submission into the compendium known as Endless Realization. In that sense, she technically shouldn't be referred to as either the Endless Witch or the Golden Witch, but by a new title that is a fusion of the two. Regarding witches. The definition of a witch is vague, but according to the generally accepted theory, one becomes a witch at the moment they gain possession of a power surpassing the boundaries of the humans that they can use at will. The world, or fragment, in which they can use their power is freely known as their territory. Most witches cannot leave their territory at will, but those who can travel freely across the world of fragments are called voyagers. In the story, Burncastle and Lambda Delta belong to this special category. Regarding voyagers. Worlds of different fates and circumstances are called fragments, and witches capable of crossing the ocean of endless fragments are called voyagers. It is also a title used to indicate a high-order witch, and witches limited to their own territories cannot compare to their power. Which is why Beato is on such a different level than Bernie and Lambda. However, perhaps because they don't have well-defined territories of their own, their values are ever-changing, and it's easy for their souls to become vague and insubstantial. It isn't uncommon for this to result in them turning into scraps of seaweed in the fragment ocean and fading away. Their voyage has no destination, and you might even say that they're on a journey to escape a destination. Witches of an even higher order than voyagers are called creators. Creators are sacred beings who can create one out of the sea of nothingness. That would be Maria. They can give birth to one from zero, give birth to the endless, and then return it to zero again in a flash. They are freed from all restrictions, and voyagers sometimes even call them gods. In that sense, perhaps the Witch of Origins, Maria, is a chosen girl fated to become a creator. All voyagers fear that their destination of their own journeys is becoming a creator. As to why they would fear advancing to the status of a higher order being, only they themselves can comprehend the answer.
That's really interesting.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's all the tips. That's all the character tips. That's all the tea parties. That's everything there is in this game.
Is there anything hidden in the music box?
I'm going to check the music
There might be.
I'm just going to check.
They do it. They do it.
They would do it.
I feel...
Oh,
that's glorious.
This is awesome.
Skip scary tunes, play scary tunes only.
Oh, this is great. Oh, this is wonderful. Oh man, because I'm gonna be hearing these songs in my head for
ages.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Ugh. All right, I guess this is gonna be goodbye for a while.
Yeah.
In this series, anyway. If you haven't yet, do check the link in the description to the vlog where we'll go into more detail, but it's going to be a while before we come back to Rokenjima, but when we do, I hope we'll see you all again, and we'll finally get to the bottom of what's happening here.
Yeah.
Thanks again for joining us. It means a lot, everyone.
It does.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.